Officer Derek Matthews had been on the Riverside Police Department for 15 years. He'd seen it all, or so he thought. On this humid Tuesday afternoon in July, he was patrolling the upscale neighborhoods of Riverside Heights when he spotted a young black girl walking alone near Magnolia Street. 9-year-old Zara Johnson was walking home from her best friend Emma's house, just 3 blocks away. She wore a purple backpack and hummed a song she'd learned in school. Her mother, Mayor Linda Johnson, had always taught her to be confident, to walk with her head held high, and to never be ashamed of who she was. Officer Matthews pulled his patrol car alongside her. "Hey, you. Stop right there." Zara turned, confused. "Me?" "Yes, you. What are you doing in this neighborhood?" His tone was sharp, accusatory. "I'm walking home from my friend's house. I live here." Zara's voice was steady, but her heart began to race. "Sure you do," Matthews scoffed. "I know everyone in this neighborhood, and I've never seen you before. What's really going on? You stealing from these houses?" "No. I live at 742 Magnolia Street. My mom is. I don't want to hear your stories, kid. Hands where I can see them." Zara complied, raising her small hands. She remembered her mother's talks about staying calm with police, about being respectful even when scared. But she was only 9, and tears began streaming down her face. "I didn't do anything wrong," she said, her voice cracking. Matthews grabbed her arm roughly. "You're coming with me. We'll sort this out at the station. Please, just call my mom. Please." "Save it," he snapped, pulling out his handcuffs. Several neighbors had emerged from their homes, attracted by the commotion. Mrs. Patterson, an elderly white woman who lived next door to the Johnsons, rushed over. "Officer. What are you doing?" "That's Zara Johnson. She lives right there." She pointed frantically at the Johnson residence. Matthews ignored her. "Ma'am, step back. This doesn't concern you. That child lives here. Her mother is Mayor Johnson. You're making a terrible mistake. I said step back." Matthews's face reddened with anger. He was committed now, unwilling to admit error in front of witnesses. Placed the handcuffs on Zara's small wrists. They were far too large, hanging loosely. The little girl sobbed uncontrollably as he led her to his patrol car. Mrs. Patterson had already pulled out her phone, recording everything and simultaneously calling the mayor's office. At Riverside Police Station, the desk sergeant, Officer Maria Rodriguez, looked up in shock as Matthews brought in a crying 9-year-old girl in handcuffs. "Matthews, what the hell is this?" "Found her in Riverside Heights. She's clearly lying about living there. Probably casing houses for a robbery." Rodriguez's eyes widened. "Derek, I know what I'm doing, Maria. Book her." Rodriguez hesitated, recognizing Zara from community events with the mayor. "Derek, I really think you should. That's an order, Sergeant." Rodriguez had no choice but to comply, though she immediately sent a text to her supervisor. She treated Zara gently, removing the handcuffs and offering her water. "Sweetie, we're going to call your parents, okay?" "My mom is at City Hall," Zara whispered between sobs. "She's the mayor." Matthews overheard and laughed dismissively. "Right, and I'm the president." 20 minutes later, the station doors burst open. Mayor Linda Johnson strode in, flanked by her chief of staff and 2 attorneys. Her face was a mask of controlled fury. Linda Johnson was a formidable woman. The first black female mayor in Riverside's history, she'd won election 2 years earlier on a platform of police reform, community justice, and equality. She'd faced opposition from the police union, particularly from officers like Matthews who resented oversight and accountability measures she'd proposed. "Where is my daughter?" Her voice echoed through the station. The room fell silent. Every officer present recognized her immediately. Matthews emerged from the back office, his face draining of color. "Mayor Johnson, there's been a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" Linda's voice was ice. "You arrested my 9-year-old daughter for walking home in her own neighborhood. You handcuffed a child. You ignored neighbors who identified her. You brought her here in the back of a patrol car like a criminal. I was just doing my job." She looked suspicious. "Suspicious? A 9-year-old girl with a purple backpack? Walking in broad daylight in the neighborhood where she lives?" Linda stepped closer. "Or was she suspicious because she's black, Officer Matthews?" Matthews stammered, It wasn't about race." "Then explain to me, officer, when was the last time you stopped a white child in that neighborhood and demanded to know what they were doing there?" Silence. "Where is she?" Linda demanded. Rodriguez quickly led the mayor to where Zara sat in a small office, still crying. Linda swept her daughter into her arms, holding her tight. "Baby, I'm so sorry. I'm here now. You're safe." The video Mrs. Patterson recorded went viral within hours. News trucks surrounded City Hall and the police station by evening. The story dominated local and national news. Mayor's daughter arrested for walking while black. The police chief, Richard Brennan, held an emergency press conference that evening. "This incident is unacceptable and does not represent the values of the Riverside Police Department. Officer Derek Matthews has been suspended pending a full investigation. We will conduct a thorough review of his conduct and his record. But Linda Johnson wasn't satisfied with a suspension. At her own press conference the next morning, with Zara beside her, she announced sweeping measures. What happened to my daughter happens to too many children in this country. Black and brown children who are seen as threats simply for existing. My daughter had the privilege of having a mother who's the mayor. Most children don't have that protection. I'm calling for Officer Matthews's immediate termination. I'm also announcing the formation of an independent civilian oversight board with real power to investigate police misconduct. I'm proposing mandatory implicit bias training for all officers, body cameras for every patrol officer, and a complete review of stop and search policies in our city. My daughter asked me last night, "Mommy, why did that policeman hate me?" No child should ever have to ask that question. The investigation revealed a troubling pattern. Officer Matthews had a history of complaints from black residents, none of which had been properly investigated. He had stopped black motorists at 3 times the rate of white motorists. Several complaints of excessive force had been quietly settled with taxpayer money. Internal Affairs discovered messages in a private group chat where Matthews and several other officers made racist jokes and mocked the mayor's reform initiatives. The police union initially defended Matthews, arguing he was following protocol. But public pressure was overwhelming. Protests erupted across Riverside, with thousands marching in support of the Johnson family and demanding police accountability. 1 week after the incident, Matthews was fired. 3 other officers involved in the racist group chat were also terminated. The city council, under pressure from the mayor, approved the civilian oversight board and the policy reforms, but the story didn't end there. Matthews attempted to sue the city for wrongful termination, claiming he was being made a scapegoat. His lawsuit was dismissed. He gave interviews to conservative media outlets, portraying himself as a victim of political correctness. "I was just doing my job," he insisted. "I didn't know she was the mayor's daughter." This statement itself became infamous. As one commentator noted, he admits he would have treated her differently if he knew her mother was powerful. That's precisely the problem. He shouldn't have treated any 9-year-old that way, regardless of who their parents are. For Zara, the trauma lingered. She started having nightmares. She became anxious when she saw police cars. Linda enrolled her in therapy and took a brief leave from her duties to be with her daughter, but Zara was resilient, like her mother. 3 months after the incident, she spoke at a city council meeting about her experience. Her words, delivered in a clear, strong voice, moved many in attendance to tears. "I used to think police officers were heroes who helped people. That day, I learned that some police officers judge you by your skin color, not by who you are inside. But I also learned that most people are good. Mrs. Patterson stood up for me. Officer Rodriguez was kind to me. And my mom taught me that when bad things happen, we fight to make things better, not just for ourselves, but for everyone." The Johnson case became a catalyst for change in Riverside and beyond. Other cities began implementing similar reforms. The story was covered in schools as a case study in racial profiling and civil rights. Linda Johnson's approval rating soared. In her re-election campaign 2 years later, she won by a landslide, even earning support from some who had initially opposed her police reforms. The reforms had worked. Police misconduct complaints dropped by 40%, community trust in law enforcement increased, and crime rates actually decreased as community-police relations improved. The Civilian Oversight Board proved effective, investigating complaints impartially and recommending policy changes that made the department more professional and accountable. As for Derek Matthews, he moved to another state and applied to several police departments, but the viral video followed him. No department would hire him. He eventually left law enforcement entirely. Years later, when Zara was 18 and preparing to attend college to study criminal justice, a journalist asked her if she'd forgiven Officer Matthews. She thought for a moment before answering. Forgiveness is complicated. What he did was wrong, and he never really apologized or showed he understood why it was wrong. But I don't spend my energy on anger toward him anymore. I spend it on building a better system so what happened to me doesn't happen to other kids. That day changed my life. It was traumatic and unfair. But it also showed me the power of using your voice and your position to fight for justice. My mom didn't just fight for me, she fought for every child who couldn't fight for themselves. That's what I want to do with my life." The incident on Magnolia Street became a defining moment in Riverside's history, a painful reminder of systemic racism and implicit bias, but also a testament to the possibility of meaningful reform when communities demand accountability. The reforms initiated after Zara's arrest became a model for other cities. Mayor Linda Johnson went on to serve 3 terms, becoming one of the most respected mayors in the state's history, and Zara Johnson, once a traumatized 9-year-old in handcuffs, grew up to become a civil rights attorney, fighting cases of discrimination and police misconduct across the country. Sometimes, from moments of darkness and injustice, courage and determination can create lasting light.